Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's or this morning for some of you, Chris, for example, live event. Today we have Nils, Leon, and Fernando here to share some insights about the F4 wing foil range. So I thought we'll start with a short presentation of you guys. You're all windsurfers, starting to wing, which seems to be the thing going on right now. So I'll let you introduce yourself shortly, and then we can move along to talking about the setups. So let's start with Fernando. We seem to have some technical issues there, so we'll move on to Leon, and Fernando, maybe you can try to rejoin the meeting and see if we can get your microphone working.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Leon Delle. I'm from Germany. I live in the cold north of Germany in the surf city Kiel. Yeah, I'm originally a windsurfer and doing all kind of foil windsurfing also. And as a logical step, I also tried winging first time 2 years ago. And at the beginning, I was trying to avoid testing it out because I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to be addicted too. And that is exactly what happened then. And yeah, F4 were my first foils I used in winging. And I would like to share all my knowledge about that with you today. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for being here. So Nils.
Yes, so I'm Nils Bach from Germany. Probably some of you know me from the YouTube channel also because I do a lot of videos on windsurfing. So I've been starting to foil about 2 or 3 years ago, and then I'm on F4 now since last year. And yeah, I'm super happy with the foils. They're like the highest performant foils on the market. And I'm probably the guy with the least amount of experience in winging in here. I've tried it now 2 times, so it's not a whole lot of experience I have on it, but the 2 times I've tried it, it was super fun because I think on windsurfing, when you do it, especially like I do it on the race and slalom discipline, it's super physical. And I think winging is really nice because you just have this feeling of freedom that you kind of get back like you have in the beginning when you start windsurfing. You get the same feeling with winging now. So I think it's a really nice alternative. And yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Liz. So the idea of tonight's live is that we're basically going to go through all of the different setups. F4 got a pretty big range going from, we're going to start with the lightwind stuff, the little bit more slow and big wings, and then move down to Freeride, Freerace, and then we're going to end up with discussing the new wing race foils.
Yeah, maybe then I just take over and say something about the lightwind stuff. As we have 2 different kind of wings there. We have a 2500, which I haven't used so far. As I'm a very light guy, it's not the ideal wing for me, but I have used the 2000 square centimeter front wing. And for me, with 75 kilos, it was amazing how early you take off. Even in the lightest wind, I was using the 2000 square centimeter wing in around 5 to 6 knots with a 5 square centimeter wing and around a 90 liter board. And I didn't even thought it was able to get on the wing, but you just need like super slow speed to get on it. And as soon as you're on the wing, it carries you around even in the lightest light. So that wing, it's slow. It doesn't get so, for sure, it's not getting as fast as a race wing. But to get into winging, I think it's the best way to start with a big wing because you carry along all the time. And also if you're trying to do your first dives where you for sure don't handle the wing in the right technique. And but it's very forgiving for that because no matter if you have pressure in the wing or not, you always stay on the foil for a very long time. And although for beginners, it's, I think, better to not get so fast because the faster you get, the more responsive foil is and the more it's acting to small movements. And while going slow at the beginning helps you a lot to first get used to do foiling at all. And yeah, if you're comfortable with that situation, then you can switch to a smaller front wing.
All right, thanks a lot, Leon. Let's see if we
That's
can.
a great comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Fernando, let's see if we can get your voice working now. Nope. Maybe try without the headphones. All right, so continue with you, Leon, talking about the lightwind setup. How would you say, like, I mean, you say you can go in almost no wind. What's that, if you would kind of try to define it a little bit further?
You mean into knots, or yeah? So
Yeah.
I was using the 2,000 square centimeters. So I was already having the 1,400, which was my go-to foil at the beginning, and then I got the 2,000 square centimeter wing for some lightwind testing and to see how low we can go with that one. And actually, I was using it between 5-6 to around 12 to 13 knots, because already if it's like around 9 to 10 knots, I can already use the 1,400, as I said, very light with 75 kilos. So I think it's perfect in the range until 15 knots. So if there's more than 15 knots, you just get more pressure in the wing, and then the speed potential of the 2,000 is limited. So you, by natural, get the feeling that you want a smaller front wing to get a bit more speed out of the pressure the wing makes. But until 15 knots is between 5 and 15, or for heavier guys, maybe it's more like 7 to 17. But in that wind range, I suggest it's best to use a big front wing like the 2001.
All right. So
how big is the board you're on?
When I was using this 2000, I had an 80-liter board by I-99 with a length of 5'6", something like that. So pretty long for the volume, but yeah, so a bit higher than my weight, like 5 to 10 liters above my weight.
all right, and
Very
considering you're normally like a racer doing more high-speed foiling on windsurfing, would you say that like you can still have fun with a big wing like this?
For sure you can. So as I already said, the 1,400 was my first wing. So I already had kind of a level when I tried out the 2,000 at the first time. So for me, it was just like, okay, I can go in like 3 to 4 knots lower wind than I was doing before. But it was not that it made much more fun by using the 12,000. But for sure, with the bigger wing, like between 1,500 and 2,500, it's super nice to have fun, especially at the beginning, because at the beginning it's not about the speed of the wing, it's just about the feeling you get while doing winging, because it's like the freedomness and the easy going of everything and the smoothness of everything. And so this is more the exciting part of it, and this you can already get with big wings. That's not a matter of the size of the wing, how much fun you have at the beginning of doing it.
All right, thanks a lot, Leon. Sounds like we have a sound from Fernando now. Hello, Fernando.
Oh yeah. I don't believe it. You hear me?
Yeah. You can. You're heard now.
At the end, the phone saves the session. No computer. Hello, everybody, again. Or finally.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was so weird. I'm sorry. It was so weird to be in and out. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say before, I'm super happy to be here with you guys, and it was super nice to share some sessions with Leo and Nils in the past. I mean, a couple of days ago and a few weeks ago. And yeah, I'm excited to be here and looking forward to give a hand with the explanation of the wings.
Awesome. So Leon's been talking a bit about the 2000 lightwind, and I know you've been riding some with the bigger version, the 2500. Could you share some insights about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I got the when I first ordered this gear, I was actually looking forward to surf foil with a paddle like a year and a half ago or more, which actually the winging was still not in my mind. So I ordered a set, which I've been expanding. But anyway, that big wing, it's massive. It's massive, but it's actually surprisingly fast. It's this line of wings, like together, I believe with the 2000, but for sure the 720, it's also super fast. So the 2500, I remember going to a surf spot and there was no wave. I mean, not like no wave. No, sorry, it was super light wind, but killing the wave. And it happened that I had a 4-meter wing in the car. It was like super light wind, but with the 2500 pumping, I was flying. And I have a good skilled foiler with me and kiter. Actually, Antoine Auriol, who is a professional kiter, and he was kite foiling, and he was so proud of the speed. And that was like my second session. So anyway, this wing just gives you the opportunity to fly in no wind, and the power you get, it's delivered very smoothly. So it's really an amazing wing to get started with, especially if you're a big rider. Again, like moving down to the 1700, which we will talk after, is very close by. So 1700 is also very powerful, but these wings are amazing to get going, to have like easy ride. And yeah, you cannot expect crazy surfing on this because it's massive, it's really big, but it's a lot of fun to get started with.
Right, awesome.
This
Thanks
is
a
the
lot,
one
John.
the guys are just paddling from, without any wing or anything, just paddling right up to the foil from flat water with the 2500. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's really the amazing thing, I think, because now with the foiling, and before, like when there was only windsurfing and no foil, you didn't really have fun in wind that was like below 12 knots. But now you can have like so much fun, even with the big wings in very light wind, and you just get like the same feeling, I think, which is really fascinating about it. So you have like, especially if you live somewhere where you don't have so much wind, you have a lot more days on the water that you can just like get the maximum out of it. So I think this is really what is so amazing about it.
Thanks a lot, Nils. So do we have any questions on the lightwind setup from the audience here? Please put them in the chat or just raise a hand in the Google Meet, and we'll be sure to answer them. If not, we'll move over to the Freeride setup in a bit.
Not sure actually we talked about the other wings. Did we talk about the 1700 already, or the 1400?
No, well, that's the wings we're gonna move on to now. So
Okay,
if we don't have
I thought
any,
the
if we don't
Freeride.
have any,
I thought the Freeride were the high aspect. Okay, perfect.
so yeah, we can move on to the Freeride setup. So basically, we have the 1720, like you already mentioned, Fernando, and then we have the 1400, which was Leon's first wing he started using. So I guess we could start with like who would you say this setup is good for? If you're just getting into winging, or is it like an intermediate wing, or?
Yeah, the 1720. This was like my second wing when I got started, but this is a wing to have, like always. This wing, it's a low aspect, I would say, definitely. I mean, it's not a high aspect, but like I said before, it's a wing that is delivering the power, like the 2500, very smoothly, very softly. So I actually first ordered it for surfing, to get into paddle surfing with huge paddle boards. And this wing is a wing that you can get full into it, like into the takeoff, like with power. And the takeoff in the wave is I know I'm talking about surfing, but it's how I got started with this. And the takeoff in the surf is smooth. It's slowly going up, and it's super fast. This wing can do over 20 knots, believe it or not. This huge wing. And so anyway, what I want to say is yeah, there are wings that can deliver good power, but not too much power. It's actually, that's why it's so fast, incredibly fast for the size. And then when it kind of turns already. It's not a super turning wing, but you can have fun in the waves with this. And when it gets into jumping, because it's so powerful and fast. You can do massive jumps with this, and the landing is amazing because the size and the smoothness of the profile, it makes it like landing on a cloud. When you land a jump, this is so big that you can very easily land and not get to touch the water with the board, just keep flying. This is something I found in this wing that is much harder to do on the high aspect, new high aspect. So anyway, so this is the 17, and then you move down to the 1720. You move down to the 14th. This one is almost new. The one I use a lot. I even been in the rocks with it. This is almost new. I just got it, and I found it like it's very nice for surfing because it's smaller and it has enough power. But for me, for winging, I would rather take the 17 because it has the size, it delivers better stability, and you don't gain so much moving into this unless you want to go just pure surf, for pure surfing, and more for paddle and surf foiling than for winging, in my opinion. But they are all in one line. The 2500, I believe the 2000, I believe because I didn't test it, but it's the same line. So the 1720 and the 1400, they are the same type of wings. And I would like to compare with the others, but we will have to wait until we get into the other wings to make the proper comparison. And until this point, just any questions, please?
Hey, one thing, you guys, on the 1400 wing, it might be interesting to know that the history of that one. So we originally made that as part of a surf foil project, and then we designed it specifically for electric foil. And the guys that are working on the electric foil have huge resources. They bought every foil that you can buy in the market, and they tested it with telemetry from the foil, so they know exactly like the speed, the power for a given rider weight, how long the battery lasts, and all this. And with that 1400 wing, they could go 40. It was 40% more efficient than anything else. And so they like that one because it's really good with turning. It was the best one with turning, and also it was the most efficient for their setup.
That's very interesting. I believe I kind of believed after you said that, Chris, that maybe that efficiency is dropping down a little bit the stability that you get on the 1700, because maybe it's more loose and maybe there's less drag, so that's why you get it more effective. So yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But you're exactly right, Fernando, in that it's not a high aspect wing, so the performance is different, but they both turn pretty well, reasonably fast, and they're good for their size,
Yes.
Thanks a lot, guys. We have a question from Eivind.
Yes, hello, Eivind here. Actually, the 1400 wing I've been using for wind foil free riding. When it's really windy, I don't use my race gear, so it's I use it with 3.0 and 4.0, and it's a really nice wing. It's and I actually done 24 knots on 2 seconds with the 3.0, the 3.0 combat wave sail. So it's a fast wing, but still it feels like you can almost go to a standstill through the jibe, and even if there's like if I go out with the 3.0 and the wind drops, as long as I manage to keep things flying, I can keep on going forever.
That's awesome.
This is the magic thing of foiling. When you are in the air, you keep going, and these big size wings, the things that they have that most other, I mean, other brands I had the chance to test, but the one thing that they have is that they are fast. These big wings are fast. So this is something that delivers, like you just said, when the wind drops, but you keep it in the air, you keep going. It doesn't matter, because if it's fast, you have no drag. If you have no drag, you need minimum wind to keep it going. And like I said, like with the 4 meter on the, okay, it was a bigger wind, but with almost no wind, I managed to get flying on this. And yeah, they're amazing wings. Interesting.
Thanks a lot, David. Leon, do you have anything you would like to add about the 1400 setup?
Yeah, actually, I can say exactly the same things about the 1400 that Fernando said about the 1700, because for me, that was the wing I was using for most of the conditions. I was using it for surf winging and like 4 meters swell. I was doing it for my first tricks with 360s, and has a good potential of jumping and pump. And what's also nice of these foils, because I also had tried out some other foils from different brands, and sometimes if you get on the foil and you don't have enough speed, you just drop down again, and this is kind of an odd situation or odd feeling. And what I felt with the F4 wings, and especially the 1400, is that as soon as you're on the wing or on the foil, it stays on the foil. So it's coming as early as the other ones on the foil, but once on the foil, you stay there. You just have to put a bit more pressure, but you never get this like, okay, I get on it, and then I just lose the flow and drop down to the water. So this is something that I recognize. And I think if you're looking for like the best overall package, so I only want one foil with one front wing, I think then the 1400 and the 1700 are the best thing to go to, because they deliver good light wind performance, they're good for surfing, they're not too big, they're a bit agile. And so if I would have to choose for only one setup, which I don't have to, luckily, but then it would perhaps be the 1400 or 1700.
That's really good, Leon, because I know you've been using this wing a lot, and I just got it, and I just got one session, and yeah, that's the thing, you know, I use it one day and I know all the others much more, and at the end, if you have one of these wings, no matter, I mean, maybe because I'm 15 kilos heavier than you, the 1720 would be my one and only wing. Well, actually now is my 1050, but anyway, for surfing and winging, for overall will be the 1720, and for you the 14, for those two reasons. Because one, because they are in the same line, we have different heavyweights, different weights, but at the same time, you've used it more one, and I've used more the other. So at the end, they're both amazing wings, and it's so good that you had time with it to give us your point.
Thanks a lot, guys. So, like, going from between the Freeride stuff, would you say it's a big difference in the turning capabilities? Like, is it a big difference in the feeling when you ride it, more aggressive, or?
Can you tell it again? I lost the beginning of the sentence. Going from?
Yeah, just going from the light wind setups and more towards these a little bit smaller wings. Like, it's the big difference when you turn and.
Yeah, the smaller the wing, I mean, in the same line, the smaller the wing, the better the ability to turn. Is radical. And if you move on to the 1250, which is the smallest, I think it's the smallest pure surf wing we have. This I have to tell, I only use it with the surf, with the prone 5 foot paddling on the hands. I didn't get to put it on the wing yet. I didn't feel like needing it, but the smaller, the better turning for sure. Yeah. And it's progressive already. Yeah. Sorry.
And you won't use the light wind setup for big freestyle sessions. It's more the setup you use if you want to learn winging, or if you really want to get or also in very, very light winds. And then for sure, the circle you have to make in a jibe is bigger than the one you can do with the smaller front wing. But it's not like you can turn a little bit. Of course, it's not like you can only go one straight line with a light wind setup, but for sure, it's not the same. So if you want to have tight turns and be most agile, then for sure you have to take a 1400 or 170.
All right, thanks a lot. So before we move on to the Freerace stuff, just if you have any questions, feel free. Also, if you don't want to speak up, you can also put them in the chat. I thought also, Fernando, I know you've been riding the 1250 surf wing, which is kind of a step where, well, more optimized for wave surfing. So would love to hear your insights on this one. And Chris, maybe you can also give some.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give just the quick tip I gave before. I never feel needing to put this on when winging so far. Also, well, anyway, I've used it for surfing, and I've used it a few times only, and I found that like when I got it, my first set was a 2500, the 1720, and the 1200, the 1200. So 1250. So this one, I got these three. So at the beginning, I was like, okay, this is smallest. So I actually just use it with the small board, paddling into the wave with the hands. And yeah, and when I use it like this, it's the same thing. Easy to take off because it's progressive power, and when you are up, it's a surfboard. It's turning like. But yeah, I've used it 3 times only, and my skills are not enough to get performance out of this wing, because again, most of the time I'm windsurfing training race gear, and then I'm into winging a lot when I have free time. So I didn't spend that much time on that wing for surfing because I literally didn't have more time. But I believe it's in the same direction of all this line of wings. It's the smallest one, which is the best thing you can have to surf waves, literally surf waves with your hands, catching the waves, and the most curvy, the most carver wing. I believe Chris can probably give us some more information about it.
Yeah. This one we're testing a lot. It was made more for pure surfing, and the guys here on the coast, this one is super fast and can really turns well, and the curvature on the tip just it's very solid. It doesn't ventilate. It goes through the whitewater really well, and they're setting it up with a lot more rear wing angle than we use for windsurf foils. So they're putting 3 degrees, 4 degrees on the rear wing, and with that it just becomes really loose. And so they're doing cutbacks on the wave and maintaining speed through the bottom turn, and really just able to have good control in the waves.
Yes,
we have huge surf here today. We have Mavericks is going to break today, so that is that's a huge day here today.
Are you going out there, Chris?
No, I'm not going to go out there. That's death defying. No, it's like a 50-foot surf. It's crazy. It's giant today.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the Freerace setup, which have the more high aspect wing, the 1050. I guess maybe we can start with you, Leon. You've been riding it for some time now. Like, what would you say to start with? Like, who is this setup good for? Is it it's a good beginner's thing, or maybe it's more of the advanced?
So actually, this is the wing, and as you can see, in comparison to the wings that Fernando showed us, it's a much more high aspect, and the biggest difference is the speed potential. It's for sure not the maximum speed you can get out of it. Therefore, we have the race where we talk about later, but you can already feel a difference in the speed potential. And What's also nice about the 150 is it glides very well, and you can use it also a bit better for pumping because of the shape. And but for sure you need more wind, and it's not like you need like 2 knots more wind than the 1400, which is maybe the closest to it by the normal setups. I know that now you have also high aspect front wings in bigger sizes, but the 150 is definitely a front wing for higher winds. So I think at least like 15 knots is good wind to use it, because once on the foil, again, you don't have problems, but to get on the 115, you for sure need some wind. And then it's very nice, because you never get the feeling that the front wing is pulling the brake. Like bigger wings, they always feel like, okay, I have power in the wing and I want to go fast in higher winds, but with the big front wings, you always get the feeling like somebody's pulling the brake. And this is a big difference in the 150. So you have the pressure and you just feel that it's going in the direction, and you feel very loose with it.
All right, nice. Fernando, I put you on mute, but if you want to give some insights on that too, you just have to unmute yourself, and then you can start talking.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Leon gave us already the basic information, and I mean the information. So yeah, well, I confirm, like a little bit, like you need a little bit more wind. Like I have here the 2 wings, like to have a look at them. The one is not even fitting in the screen. You can see how different the shapes are on each other. But then basically what I want to point the same things and add a couple of details. This is I would call it the Freeride, I would call it a high aspect, because it's much more narrow, and for the smallest of the size, like here I have the 1700, 1720, and the 1050 is almost half. I mean, 17% bigger one or the other, and they are the same span. So one is clearly a high aspect, the other is not. The 1000, when you first get it, you think you're going to need a lot of wind to get going because it's so small, but actually you don't. I mean, you do need a bit more wind, like Leon said, and try not to break them. You need, like, basically with the 17, you can go in no wind with a pretty big wing. You can pump it and get going, like Les said, 7 knots, 8 knots if you have the skills. With the 1050, I personally need 12 knots. I believe some people will get it going in 10 knots. I don't. So you see the difference. There's a clear gap. So in terms of getting going, there is this difference. But then there's many other differences, in my opinion. The 150, the 1050, the high aspect, for me, it's the most fun to use in the wing. Why is this? Because for me, the pumping is much more dynamic. When you get into pumping, you get you really accelerate. It's responsive, much more responsive than the other. The other is more slow pumping. Then when you get into the surf, it is just surfing. It turns like what you want on the wing. Like it turns a lot compared to the other. It turns much more. So the pumping ability and the turning ability makes it a really, really fun wing to use for winging. What is other points, like the delivery of the power? It's very different. The lower aspect, the 1720, this one is progressively giving the power, which is nice to get into a wave. The 1050, it's more kind of an on and off. So when you're trying to get going in super light, you kind of get going and go down because you need more. But when you go, it pushes up so much. We can get later about trimming, but to get the idea, I need at least half a degree less rear wing on this smaller wing than I need on the bigger wing. And when you have more or less the proper trim, when you're going, you get the speed, and on the 1700, the 1720, you get the speed, but it's still like nose is still down all the time. Kind of like you can keep pushing for the speed because the nose is down. On the other one, when you accelerate, it wants to go up. It delivers more and more power. So it's a more powerful wing, which is good for winging, good for pumping. That's what it delivers, the pumping ability, in my opinion. The power that generates is, like I say, my opinion. We have Chris here to tell me I'm wrong. So anyway, this is really fun. This is really fun because of all this for winging. But then I've tried this wing for surfing with a paddle, and it's very hard because when you're on a takeoff, when you go from almost not moving to flying, then you gotta get on the straps, and the power is coming all in a sudden. So probably I should have taken the straps out, and it will be easier. But for me, it's more difficult to get surfing with this. So I think this is all I wanted to say, and maybe we move on to Chris to put the points on the notes.
This one I'm riding every day. So this one I'm using every day, and this is the one. If it's more than 12 knots, if it's 10 to 15 knots, I'll go take this wing, because I know in 12 knots, maybe it takes a lot of pumping. Maybe I have to stand there for a while to wait for the gust. But then when I'm going, it's great. It's faster. And what I like the most is the glide. And with this one, I can pump better. And even in the bay and flat water, we have 1 meter, 1 meter waves, maybe sometimes bigger. I can go, and that's what everybody likes doing. They ride the waves down. You can go for almost indefinitely, and we're always going out with the boat wakes and riding on boat wakes, and this one is it's a lot of fun for that. It's also pretty fast. I used in the slalom racing in the lightwind, so it's pretty fast, and that one is going well. I think it's the aspect ratio that makes it possible to get going on a smaller wing. So if you make the aspect ratio larger, so the span is bigger, you can have a smaller area and get going at roughly the same. So, super fun to do. So this one is, this one's really great. I think it's, what we're riding of all the wings, it's the most. And like Fernando said, you can, if you have a plate system on your board, you can adjust the plate. If you move the plate a little forward and maybe have a little more rear wing angle, it turns into you can change it from a super fast, stable, wing that, is okay for racing, to something that is very turning, flexible, and you can rip turns on it like amazing, like I never thought. So, which is a little bit the challenge sometimes for testing, because you have to try these combinations. And
I've tried those combinations, but I think I want to get back to you with that. But I think Leon also wants to talk. So, but
go ahead. Sorry.
No, Leon was asking to talk, I think. No?
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to let you finish, because I wanted to say something else about this wing, because I'm using it also for wind foiling. But I think we also have a question in the comments about the low end wind range for the highest bag 1650. So maybe we first talk about that, and then I can finish the pre-race talk by talking about wind foil compatibility of the front wing.
Sounds good. I think we'll need your help on this one, Chris, because these guys haven't tried this wing yet.
Okay, so the wings that the 1050, so we made a bunch in this series, and they're all high aspect wings. They're originally made for downwind pumping. So the guys out there racing without any wing or anything, they're just, using a paddle and just pumping up on waves and going in, open ocean races. And the 1650 was the very first one. So this has extremely low end, like, 5-6 knots. These guys are going in the ocean on this 1650. And as the riders all improved with their ability, they want smaller and smaller wings. And so we made 1450, 1250, and then the 1050. So the 1250 is also amazing. It glides even in lighter wind than the 1050, for example. The one difference for the 1650 is that we use a much thicker section. So the top end speed is lower, and it's also has a huge span. It's 1.2 meters in span. So this one does not turn, but it gets going at very, very low speed. So almost like the 2500 speed, but doesn't turn as well. And, it's really for just the very, very low end getting going. Does that help?
Yeah, I think you answered. Like, they're asking the low end, so low end is about 6 knots. I think that was the answer.
Yeah. Super low. Mm-hmm. Yeah, around 6 knots. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Chris. We have another question from Eivind.
Yes, we're just gonna unmute here. So with the Freerace foil, the high aspect one, what rear stabilizer are you using for that one? When I look at the pictures, it looks like one of the rear wings from the race foils.
Yes. Yes, it's the 42 210 stabilizer. It's the same one that we use for the race foil. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
We've been going.
I'm in the web shop putting together stuff that makes me able to do wing foiling. So I need to I have all these sort of different F4 components. So then I already have the rear stabilizer.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one is perfect. So when the winging was first starting, the first things we tried were the windsurf foil. So we tried the windsurf foil, or the race foil on the wing board. Well, we had to make our own wing board, but we tried the race foil, and it's super good. Super good. But you're so far forward with that foil, and you can't turn so well. So then we just started changing the geometry with shorter fuselage, and but using the same wings, and they work amazingly well, and they're super fast. And the thing is, you're going 3, 2, 3, 4 knots faster, and they're super stable. So everything is like really easy, tacking and jibing and everything. You're going a little faster. It's all super easy. So some of these fuselages are available to be. I guess not sure if we posted them yet, but the race fuselage is essentially the windsurf race wings on a wing fuselage. So these wings are amazing. The only thing is, it does take some technique to get going, and you do need a little bit of wing. A little bit of wind. The more you need more wind, the smaller the wing is generally. So, and it does take a little bit of practice to get going on them.
Thanks a lot, Chris. We have another question from Hannah. Can I tame the smaller Freerace foils with a longer fuselage?
Yes, you can. The longer the fuselage, the more damped the pitch stability is generally. So if you go too long, of course, you can't react quick enough to the waves that are coming. And if you go too short, then you have a lot of, it's much more sensitive up and down.
But Chris, what fuselage?
So
what fuselage can she use on a Freeride? What longer? I mean, I don't think we have a long fuselage for Freeride wings.
The windsurf one.
Yeah, the windsurf ones.
Yeah, true.
The Freeride windsurf fuselage. I already have that for windfoil.
The 85.
Mm.
Yeah. There's so there are 2 fuselages. They have different connections, and there's 85. So there's 85. So all the thicker wings will work on that. And then for the race fuselages with the 5-bolt connection, there's quite a few. So I'm not sure if we listed the Freerace. The race fuselage has the 765 fuselage, I believe.
Yeah, it's
but
listed
there's
as well.
The 765. Okay, yeah. So that one's pretty good.
And had a question
765.
about the 73 centimeter fuselage that has the 3-bolt connection, so it fits all the Freerace wings and the Freeride wings, but it won't fit the super high aspect race wings.
Yeah.
I think actually it's very easy to explain the compatibility of the wings on the fuselages, because every front wing that is has a higher surface in 1000 is only working with 3-bolt fuselages, and for the longest one you have with 3-bolt is 85, which is good for using it for windsurfing, and all the other fuselages are the longer ones are only with 5-bolt systems. So the bigger front wings in 1000 all have a 3-bolt system, and all smaller front wings than 1000 have the 5-bolt system. And in the fuselage, there's for racing, there's only the 76 centimeter. This is the only one with 5-bolt system for the smaller wings, and all the others of the wing fuselages have the 3-bolt system, and then there's only one windsurf fuselage with 3-bolt, and that's the 85. This is, I hope that sums it up a little bit, but I'm sure you will put it also in the description of the products, whether 3-bolt or 5-bolt.
Yeah, definitely, and also worth putting out that that's a good point, that like with the three screw system, like basically if you're just getting started and you're getting a 2000 setup, like the lightwind setup, it's easy to upgrade it by just adding a 1400 wing later on, and you can use the exact same setup. You just swap the front wing, and doing that all the way down towards the Freerace setups. And then when you want to go real radical, you need to swap over to the 5-screw system.
And maybe another point which I wanted to talk about is the windsurf performance of the 1050, because it's also the front wing which you offer in the freestyle wind foil setup. And I'm using that front wing a lot for freestyle windsurfing, so doing 360s and just surfing a little bit the waves with sail. It's perfect for that also. So if you're looking for a foil which is good for winging and also good for wind foiling, I would definitely go for the 150 front wing, and then you can have the 70 or 73 or everything around 65 to 75. Use that fuselage length for winging, and then just add the 85 centimeter, and then you can use it perfectly also for wind foiling and some very fun setup. It's not good for race wind foiling for sure, therefore we have many other options, but for just fun ride on the wind foil, it's perfectly for that. And that's, I think, also one of the biggest advantages with a 4, if you compare to other brands that are common in windsurf foiling, that you can put the things all together, because you always have the same mast to fuselage connection, and most of the wings fit together. There's only one separation with the 3-bolt and the 5-bolt system, but that is not getting so much on the negative side, because most of the wings you use will fit for the fuselage you have. And so it's very good if you do more than one sport. Then it's really nice to get into a 4, because you can add on different wings, different fuselages, and you don't have to buy like 3 or 4 different foils altogether, and just add exactly that part that is fitting your user profile the best.
Thanks a lot, Leon. So before we move on to the race setups, I just wanted to get your insights. I know, Leon, I'm not sure about the other guys if you've been trying both the aluminum mast and the carbon mast, but like would be interesting if you could share some info about this and like the difference in the feeling of riding.
I have tried both. So yeah, I mean the aluminium mast is a super stiff mast, and when you get started, you don't see a difference in performance, for sure not. And then the really good thing about in my opinion, about the aluminium is that you can actually play with different lengths. For surfing in rocky places, you can use a 70. Or well, anyway, I'm not sure if it's still available. I have it, and then you can move on to 85 for winging. So yeah, because I have it for more than a year, so that's why I just doubted. But anyway, basically, I've winged a lot because yeah, my first carbon mast was a proto that broke. Luckily with me because it was a proto. So then I was winging with aluminium for a lot of time, and only when it comes to high speeds is when you feel you really need the carbon. So in my opinion, you can perfectly go for super low priced performance foil if you take the aluminium. And then does it come with the carbon? We all know the carbon brings stiffness. Stiffness means stability. So when you're not just flying around, but you want to get some performance, speed before the jump, the carbon, it's there to give you the stiffness. But then there's one other thing. It's so much less screws to put on and off, because I see a lot of people around leaving their foils tightened from one day to another. I never do that, ever. Yeah, if you take care of your gear, because the gear is not cheap, and you need to take care of the toys. Doing and undoing all the screws of the aluminium, it takes time. So if you just want to go sailing or surfing or winging quickly, this carbon mass is going to give you 10 to 15 minutes more of session, in my opinion, between doing and undoing. And when you go for 45 minutes ride, it's worth to have a carbon, because otherwise it's going to be 30 minutes drive, which is normally the ride I'm doing Thursdays. People see like, oh, you're sailing so many days. Yeah, but because I'm just rushing to go and coming back to work. But yeah, then they're gonna have longer sessions. But all those squeeze days is just long. Like sometimes I would just want to test one windsurfing mast or one trim on the race, or I just want to get a fun session and I go winging. So with the carbon, you get this extra time. So if you can afford it, then go for the carbon because it's worth.
Thanks a lot, Fernando. So last topic of the day is the new wing race setup. Basically, we already touched it a little bit, but going from the medium high aspect wings to the really high performance wings. So what do you guys have to share about this one? And which setup have you been riding so far?
You want to get started, Leon? Or you tested Tarifa one day?
Yes, sadly, I only had one day on that setup. Fernando made it possible. Thanks again. And so we were comparing the race setup with the 950 and on 945, and the Freerace one with the 1050. And the difference were noticeable for sure. Weren't like huge differences, but the most difference perhaps is the speed, because the 945 is made for doing top speeds. It's a pure race front wing, and if you racing, or if you want to put your best top speed online or something like that, you for sure have to go for that wing. The 1050 is also fast, but for sure not the fastest. And so that wing is perfectly working also in this similar wind range, maybe a bit later, like 12, 13 knots at least to get on the race front wing. Or if you have better skills, maybe already in 10 knots, but therefore you really need to have good skills. So it's not a beginner front wing, it's not intermediate, it's a wing where you have to get to. It's not the first thing you buy. But if you want to get the best performance out of it, or if you want to connect 30 knots, which we haven't done yet, but we're getting there, I think. And Fernando will share us his top speed in a second, I guess. And yeah, but for sure that is a wing where you can connect in 30 knots speed.
He had one session, I had two. but really, I mean, deeper in the winter, I was playing with all my fuselage, and I put my 1/15 fuselage in the wing to try the race gear, the race wings, and I tested actually the 720. And that day, okay, you have no carving ability at all with this super long fuselage, but the speeds were easily, I mean, there was 40 knots, and it was super nice to go full speed, but there was like late in the evening, almost night, like super short session, and my speeds were good that first day. Then I received this fuselage, which makes me have together with my race wings, it makes me have the race foil wing set. And yeah, I was full into all these races that we just had. So I actually had one session on my own with the day I got it, and the second session was with Leon. So those two sessions, it's enough to give you a really nice idea, because when you're riding, I've been winging a lot in the winter, and when I got this, okay, I was already into other things, but those two sessions for me is enough. Basically, the low side is, like Leon already told you, it's less powerful. So you need a bit more wind or better skills to get it going. This is for sure. But the good side is the speed, and speed in terms of you are speed sailing. Like you have a speed like, and already Chris gave you a tip before. Speed is your friend. So when you're going fast, when you can easily go fast, everything becomes easy. Easier, much easier. So this first session, I remember my top speeds from Tarifa, but that was the second session. But this first session, I was doing some nice top speeds. But the best thing, actually, I was on the Millennium. I was on the 945 wing, not even on the 850. So I've used the 945 and the 720. I still didn't get to use the 850, which I'm looking forward to have time to do. But with the 945, which is a wing that we know from the racing gear, which we know about the speeds that you can do with that. That first session, my 20-second average, so I want you to focus on that. 20-second average was 22 knots. So that means you're constantly sailing through the bay with 1 meter shop at 22 knots average. This is really good. This is really good. That was my first session. I was in the water less than 1 hour, and I have to go home, keep live. So the second one was when the Leon called me, like, hey, let's make some pics. So we made in Tarifa, we shared the gear. Here my top speed was 23.6 through the shop in Tarifa. Second session. And yeah, I have a nice board for that. I was on the first one, I was on the 4 meter. The second one, I was on the 5 meter, but it's super fast. I'm sure with few sessions, I can easily be on 25, 26 knots on this. I'm pretty sure with just a few sessions. So this is a serious speed. It's already windsurfing, foiling speeds. So, and just pointed, like I said before, this speed is your friend. Being able to go fast means everything becomes stable. So when you go on a jive on these speeds, everything is easy. You don't get everything moving. It's less powerful. So that means it's faster, but yeah, you need a bit extra wind to get it going, and unless you're super skilled. I know some super skilled guys that go playing in small wings and really light wings. So if you're really into winging, you can perform a lot on this. And also, I believe we're gonna have some ultralight wing thing sometime soon. with also performance. So, but for now, this is going to be like, I believe from 10 knots, you're full speed on this if you're skilled.
But I think that's like the general thing. Like the smaller the front wing is, the more you need to commit to actually going fast. Because if you're not going fast, it's really, you lose control if you're not really committing to going fast in the straight line. And especially if you're talking about the race wings, you really need to commit to a certain speed, and then it becomes like really, really nice. I think that's like the key to it.
But don't get me wrong. If you're once you're, I mean, you need a bit of a wind to get going. But when you're flying, you can go 20, 25 knots. You can go also 17 knots, and it's comfortable. It's not. You don't need like it. This is super stable. It's just the power is not. It's not going up too much, so you can keep it easy. But yeah, if the speed is your friend in terms of stability in windsurf foiling. In terms of if you have a lot of wind, if you don't have the speed, you're dead. But winging, you can be in 12 knots, 15 knots. You can be winging, and you can go full speed, or you can go easy. And going easy is not going to be a problem for this wing. This is just to clarify the way the speed is your friend.
This is something I wanted to point out also. It's not like you only can go fast with that wing. So for sure it gives you the potential or the best potential to go fast, but you can also have a non-physical easy ride with it. For sure you need more wind to get on it, but if you have around 15 to 20 knots, you can use that front wing also for an easy ride. You don't have to put all the like 100% pressure on it all the time to get it going. It also works easy, and even in the swell where we compare the two wings, the 150 and the 950, it was able to surf a little bit the waves. For sure not as good as a surf front wing, but you can use it for pumping also. You can use it for surfing also a little bit. So it's not just there for top speed. You can also use it for like having fun on the water without aiming your top speed. But yeah, so it has a bigger range, which the focus on speed.
Probably the best wing for jumping.
Also that, yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. We're already 5 minutes past our time here, so I can maybe we can stop with the word "speed is your friend." I like that a lot. Thanks a lot for everybody who joined, and thanks a lot, guys, for sharing your experience with the F4 wingfoil range. And yeah, we'll post this live feed with a recording on our YouTube channel in a couple of days. So if you had anyone that couldn't make it today, we'll make it available for them as well. Thanks a lot for everyone, and especially you guys who shared all the infos. And have a great weekend, and hope you get some nice winging sessions.
Thank you. It was super nice to be here, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Hey, great
Bye.
video, Nils, on the fin versus foil.
Thank you. Yeah, it got a lot of attention, so it was kind of good to make it.
All right.
But it was aimed at that, so it worked.
Thanks so much.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
a lot,
Okay,
guys.
cheers.
Bye.